we go. Knight comes out to f3, knight f6, b3 played by Nihal. So he's just playing a position which is fresh, not going for any theoretical battle. c5, he takes the pawn, check here, knight comes out, and this one looks pretty equalish for the time being. Ooh, interesting move now. Pinning the knight, attacking the pin knight. Nihal quickly castles. Now the knight comes to c3, attacking the queen and the bishop. It feels like this is preparation for both the players. Queen c5 played and black already has a very nice position. Nihal goes back, undeveloping his knight. Knight b1 takes, queen takes, and b6 played to get the bishop out from here. He plays his rook to d1. Now, generally, such positions are very equal. And if Nihal is playing for a win, this might not particularly be the best idea. But one small imbalance that you will notice here is that white has two knights as compared to a knight and bishop for black. And while this does not mean much right now because both players have quite a lot of time on the clock, at some point when the time will run low, this will become an important factor. Now, the d pawn threatens to take, so Nihal takes it on d5. And Imre takes back, rook takes d5, and rook c1 played. Very interesting move here. I was thinking that maybe Nihal would do knight c3, but then after takes, and bishop e6, black is doing okay. So rook c1 on the board, and now you don't need to move the queen because rook takes c5 is met with rook d1 mate. So you can actually develop your bishop here to b7, but instead he goes queen d6, knight comes out to c3. And now he goes rook d3. This is an important moment in the game. Notice carefully that black is slightly undeveloped, and if Nihal can find the right moves, because the rook can be in trouble here. And so a very interesting move here is knight e1, attacking the rook. The rook does not have squares to go here, so it will have to go to d2 to attack the queen, and this is exactly what Balogh wants to do. But here, instead of moving the queen, Nihal has an amazing move. Can you try and find it? Yes, knight e4 forks the queen and the rook. So you have to play rook takes queen, and then I take knight takes queen, and you will notice that this bishop is attacked and so is this knight. So you have to take this knight, and after rook takes c6, we have to assess this position. What's happening? d6 is hanging, rook c7 check is threatened. This definitely looks something good and interesting for Nihal. You can see that Nihal is taking a lot of time on the clock. He is at this position. He's calculating all these lines in his head. He's trying to assess if the resulting position is good enough for him or not. And in that, he's already lost his 1 minute time lead that he got at the start of the game. Remember, he started with 5 minutes. His opponent had 4 minutes, but now Nihal has gone below his opponent on the clock and plays rook d1. So actually, he did not play knight e1. I'm sure he calculated and did not like something there. And he has now lost the time lead. At the same time, they are just on move number 20. So to make another 40 moves to get 2-second increment in the next 2 minutes 40 seconds looks very difficult. And Balogh plays bishop b7. Very good move. Very solid chess here by black. In fact, playing the Armageddon in the style that it should be played here for black. Not giving an inch to your opponent. Nihal takes the rook, queen takes rook, brings the other rook in, queen moves back. Now, if only you could get your rook to the 7th rank, but right now it's controlled. So he pushes the queen comes back to e6. Nihal now has a decent position. Maybe a very typical Nihal move is g3 and king g2, but here doing that would not be very helpful with the bishop breathing fire down this long diagonal. But you need to get rid of your back rank issues, so maybe h3 makes sense. The other moves that are possible here are trying to double down the d file, but then there's rook d8, so not so easy. Nihal plays h3, a logical move. On the clock, he has now 1 minute 53 seconds, and this move rook d5, very cool move. because the knight cannot move to attack the rook with the bishop, and if you take, I take back with the pawn, forking the two pieces. So queen c8 was played calmly here by Balogh, and well, he's also in tremendous form. After all, he scored 8.5 points. You can see Nihal getting a bit flustered there, especially because he's not getting any advantage here. Now, do you take with the pawn? Or no, he takes with the knight there. He takes with the knight. Black can now pin the knight with queen d7. I think he's going to do that. Yes, and now Nihal goes queen c3. Queen comes up to d6. Fantastic play here by Balogh. Imre is just high quality chess. Knight comes back to e3. So now what we were talking about, these two knights creating some magic, will it happen? Of course, trading queens would mean that there's no real chance to win. So Nihal keeps the queens on the board. Queen and knights make a good combination. By the way, we are on move number 30 now, and bishop goes back to c8. Nihal now moves in with his queen, attacking the knight on c6. The knight has to move away. No, queen c5 played, offering a trade again. He comes back, and the bishop moves into e6. Now the knight goes to c2. What is his idea here? Does he want to play knight d4? So bishop goes back to f7. And Nihal comes back to e3. Balogh instantly plays his bishop up. Nihal down to a minute on the clock. We are on move 34. Impossible to make 26 moves in just a minute. That seems very unlikely. So Nihal has to win this game within a minute, which also seems tough. His opponent, meanwhile, has 1 minute 18 seconds. So this is not going Nihal's way. He goes queen c2, and he's taking a lot of time for his moves. Now the knight is attacked, and Imre thinks, let's exchange a pair of knights. So he takes, queen takes, knight comes up to f3, and the queen goes back. Now the queen moves up, maybe threatening the move e5. So black plays the move e5. Now Nihal starts the magical route with his knight. We are on move number 42, and Nihal has 37 seconds. Balogh has 54 seconds. So clearly this is very difficult position, but Nihal goes knight f1. Wow, this is getting very intense now. King goes to d7. Knight moves up. Queen d3 check. He's offering a trade of queens. You don't trade the queens. Now move number 46. Nihal has 25 seconds to make the next 14 moves. Well, he's moving quickly. He's known for that, at least on the internet. But over the board as well. Very quick. Gives a check. King moves up. Check again. King goes in, and he brings the queen to b2. 14 seconds for Nihal. 37 seconds for Imre Balogh. Queen goes to d2. Maybe Nihal is thinking about some ideas at some point. We are on move number 52. Check. King moves back. And are they repeating? Of course, Nihal can't repeat. He moves with his king. Move number 57. He has 9 seconds left on the clock. 3 more moves to make. Queen d6 does not trade the queens. He'll get 2-second increment per move. Once he makes another 2 moves. Queen, he's managing there. But still the position is dead equal. So he also needs to find a win. How can Nihal do so many things? Meanwhile, his opponent very carefully plays. And we have reached move number 60. And Nihal plays queen f2. So now Nihal gets 2 seconds increment per move. So he's at least not going to lose on time. You can see him slowing down a bit, looking at the clock. Queen goes to c5. And now queen d2. And his opponent misses the move, queen at 6. All of a sudden that 7 pawn is hanging. Only move to keep the balance is queen d3. But very difficult to find now. With such less time, Nihal has tricked his opponent. Bishop f7, a blunder. Don't take the pawn, Nihal. Go knight e3, knight d5. Finds it. Knight e3 on the board. Now knight g4 is also coming. He goes king e8 and loses on time. But the final position is losing because of knight g4, queen g7, and Nihal Sarin